Hey everybody, it's Party Elite. Welcome you back to another episode of our Planet Zoo franchise mode Let's Play. We're going to dive right back into Elite Zoo South. A zoo to which we haven't been since last year. You knew the joke was coming. You knew I had to. You knew I wasn't going to be able to resist. And so here we are. Folks, really excited to be back into it. 2021 is here, a new year with new dreams and new ideas and new concepts for our zoo, of course, and beyond. I hope y'all have had a wonderful start to the new year, and I hope y'all were able to enjoy that last episode. It was a little differently executed. I got a lot of great feedback with regards to my approach there, and that is always greatly appreciated. So thank you very much to all of you who either in chat during the live stream shared your opinion, or those of you that joined in afterwards, leaving a comment on the VOD, letting me know what you thought about the format, all that we accomplished. As I always say, folks, likes and comments really help me sort of drive the channel and the various series that you see on the channel. It helps me know what people might want to see, what you might want to see me experiment with, both in terms of format and in terms of what actually happens during a session. So honestly, and as always, do keep those likes and comments coming, not just to let me know using those numbers that y'all are still interested in the series, if that's the case, but also using the your words, as it were, in the comments to let me know, what resonates, what doesn't, what you like, what you don't like, what you're excited for, the usual. Again, I stress it all the time because it is that important to me, folks, and it is always wonderful to see the feedback, the constructive criticisms, the calls of support, and what have you. It is really great. But today's session is going to be an interesting one. Let's talk briefly about what my plans are, I suppose. I feel like I'm gonna have another one of those moments of like, I came in with certain plans, but I might head out with different plans. I did not realize we were going to be loading into the dark. I did not realize we'd be loading into the night, rather, I should say. And I wonder if I shouldn't take this opportunity to do another lighting pass. I mean, again, we did a fair bit of work very recently with regards to lighting the zoo up. I saw some pretty good responses as well with regards to our lighting pass, some great opinions shared, in particular with sort of the stuff we're doing at Pachamama's Garden and whatnot. But as I was, I think, touching on during that episode, I believe it was 2 episodes ago now, the lighting work is nowhere near really complete. There's still a lot of work to do. I mean, we've got a lot of the well, some of these interior zones have been nicely lit up, but at the same time, like a lot of these inter-enclosure spaces need a lot of work as far as lighting is concerned. The kangaroo enclosure has had a little bit of lighting work done, but it still feels pretty dark. I actually got the recommendation to make the, if I remember it correctly, the lights that point into enclosures, make them a bit more reddish. I feel like I pronounced that word in the worst possible way one could pronounce it. Reddish. Give it a bit more of a red tint, because I suppose I'm trying to remember the comment exactly. Oh, I'm frustrated at myself for not remembering it because I found the fact so fascinating. I believe it was red because it's more comfortable for the animals. Oh man, it's completely slipping me right now. It's been a long day, folks. I apologize for that, but I will look into that and I'll touch back on it next session, I suppose. We might tweak some of the tints and colors a little bit on the enclosures. Right now, we are still using warm tones. Warm tones are nice for the guests as well as the animals as well, in my humble opinion. But if we need to tweak those, I'll definitely go in and consider that. Naturally, we want to be, we want to treat it like a bit of a simulation approach, but we don't want to forego the aesthetic angle entirely, because at the end of the day, it is a video game. It is a bit of an art to it as well, so we want to create those like simulation restrictions within reason, I suppose. I mean, or maybe not. Again, let me know what you think about that. Yeah, see, we've got these like dark spots here and there as well, where it's just like, why is it so dark in here? You'd like trip over one of these benches or one of these leaves and like, fall flat on your face. So I think another lighting pass is maybe not a terrible idea. What I was originally planning on doing, just to let you know, was I was originally planning on capping sort of this area off, like this area off, so that I could move on to the warthog enclosure, sorry, and then move on to some of the new animals. But I feel like I'll take advantage of the nighttime and maybe do a little bit of lighting work this session, and then we can move on to that this region up over here next session. Now, there is some stuff that I wanted to touch on within these spaces as well, though, just during. And again, I should mention this. We will have a time lapse today, of course, but it's going to be maybe partway through the episode today. In like, well, there'll be timestamps down below, so you can use those timestamps to go right to the time lapse if you'd like. But there are some things that I would like to work on, I suppose, in real time. It's tough because I'd have to unpause to do like VFX stuff. So I'll probably work on some of the construction stuff in real time that I wanted to do, but also take a look at some of our management elements as well. In terms of our work zones and things like that, I feel like we've done a pretty good job of, where are we, staff? I think we've done a pretty good job of splitting our staff up. Well, these are the educators. By the way, I haven't heard anything about the animal talks ever since we first implemented them. So if anybody knows if they are working as intended now or if they are still broken, please inform me in the comments down below, because it will definitely influence what we do with these guys over here. So let me know if you know for a fact. If not, then maybe we experiment with them. Next session we reactivate all of the the animal talks and see how our guests behave, and if they get super upset right away, then we'll know what's to blame, more or less. But what I was opening this for was to touch on the fact that I feel like we've done a decent job in spreading our staff, in spreading our work zones. A couple people here very tired. You are mechanics, a very tired mechanic over here, and another one who does not have a work zone. Perhaps we should assign you to Australia as well. And I'm actually going to check the Australia work zone because I have my suspicions about that work zone. The vendors over here, a lot of them have their workloads way too high. I wonder if that's because they don't have any any support in other high quality vendors, perhaps, or what they're up to. I mean, a couple of them have a very high workload, but everybody else basically has a super low workload or an efficient workload. So it's like neither here nor there. It's all a matter of, I suppose, where they've ended up. I feel like assigning work zones is not a terrible idea to avoid this kind of thing, because right now what I feel is happening is a staff member is, let's say there's a staff member all the way down over here by our Aldabra tortoises, and there's a vendor stall that opens up in the central region over here. That staff member might be like, oh, I should go to work. And rather than wait for a stall to open up closer to them, they're going to go all the way towards the central area, and they're going to arrive there exhausted. They're going to work, and they're going to, get done their shift, and they'll be exhausted, and they're going to try and get to who knows where the closest staff room is. By the time they get there, they'll have to move on to their next shift. So I feel like not having these guys in work zones, sorry for that ramble there. I feel like not having these guys in work zones is maybe becoming a bit of a problem. Maybe. It's hard to tell too, because so many people who don't have work zones still have efficient or low workloads. But again, it's a case-by-case basis, I suppose. I suppose one thing we can draw a conclusion from is the fact that nobody... Oh, all right. I was going to say nobody who has a work zone has a high workload. That is decidedly false. Fair enough. All right. Maybe the pattern I should see here then is that maybe a lot of these guys who are tired... Oh. I was wondering, like, okay, are they all close to the center? Is that where the fatigue is setting in because we don't have, or is that where the fatigue and high workloads are becoming a problem because we don't have staff rooms? No, it looks like these guys are all kind of spread out everywhere. That's really hard to know exactly what might solve that problem. I'll have to think upon that. Maybe, I mean, I almost definitely need another staff room out front, don't I? But like somewhere up over here, right behind the entrance or something, just so that our staff who are working these like stalls and whatnot can very quickly retreat into something over here. If we cover it up nicely, then guests won't complain about it or anything either, right? I feel like I'm just trying to figure out which side I want to put it in. I feel like honestly at this point I'm feeling like we can put one down on either side and it still won't be enough. Perhaps on this side, because there's no, like this path is on this side and there's no sort of symmetrical, like no parallel on this side. So there's technically a bit more free space over here for us to drop down a staff room. I hope this does the trick. I really do hope this does the trick. We'll get a large one down over here. We'll have to decorate it almost certainly. I don't want to upset the guests too much or anything like that. We'll have to decorate it almost certainly. but maybe that can wait. Maybe that can wait. I'm going to go ahead and turn the light on. Avert your eyes. Brightness might blind you. I'm going to point at the sky here. God, it's so beautiful. This game can be gorgeous. Rather, no, this game is gorgeous. By the way, I should mention on the topic of gorgeous games, bit of a segue. It kind of works. You might want to check out the latest video that I dropped on the channel just yesterday, it would be. It's about some of my most anticipated sim management and city building games that are coming out throughout this year. It includes one game that I see many of you bring up often, Prehistoric Kingdom, but many others beyond that as well. So if you're a fan of this type of game, then there are quite a few games in that video that you might find interesting. It is the latest video I uploaded yesterday, I mean, in the afternoon, my time, but depending on where you live, obviously that's a different time. But I just wanted to mention that because I thought some of y'all might be interested. I might even pin a comment down below that that links to that video, because I do feel like, again, if you like this kind of game, if you're a fan of this kind of a thing, then you might like that video and all the games that I highlight in that video. And I'm always, in the comments of a video like that, I'm always looking for people's opinions as well with regards to what they might want to see on the channel. So if you have, if you have any preferences, or if you want to have your opinion heard with regards to 2021 on the channel as far as this genre is concerned, that is a great way to make it happen. To leave a comment with on that video, but do check it out. I feel like there's a lot of really interesting stuff coming out this year. This is actually a very exciting year for these genres. There's so much cool stuff. There's so much creative stuff coming. I'm thrilled. I'm super thrilled. I digress, though. I apologize for my digressions, for my rambles, especially the first episode of a new year. It's always, it tends to be, I should say, a bit. Now, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to share. There's a lot to touch on, I suppose, for the series and for everything that's around it as well. Like, all the happenings on the channel that will affect the series, or that I'm excited to share. So it tends to happen a bit more at the start of a new year, especially. But on the topic of at the start of a new year, I should mention that since this is the start of a new month, folks, if you've been really, really, really enjoying this series, then I humbly request that maybe you might want to consider becoming either a channel member or a patron. To become a patron on Patreon, you can follow the link that is under the eye at the top right corner of the screen. You'll find the same link in the description down below. And if you'd rather not use Patreon, if you'd rather not use a third-party service, you can instead become a channel member. To do that, you can click the giant join button that should show up right underneath the video. And if you don't see that join button, then a link to that will be in the description down below as well. Again, it is not an obligation. Don't feel any pressure at all. It's why I try to mention it only, once a month, the first episode of a new month. It does really help support the channel. It really helps support these long-running series as well. So I greatly appreciate it. But of course, again, it is not an obligation. I appreciate your, being here and joining me on this journey just as much. So I just wanted to, get that out there. I do want to mention, of course, on that note, that with being a channel member or patron, as you may already know by now, there are a couple of perks, especially some that directly tie into our Planet Zoo Let's Play. So, if you would like to either have a staff member named after yourself, let me know. If you would like to sponsor one of our animals, let me know. I've already received some requests. I have them noted down, but feel free to repeat yourself in the comments for sure. I never mind it personally. So again, if you're a channel member, you can just leave a comment down below because it leaves a little icon next to your name, so I know you're a channel member. But if you're a patron on Patreon instead, then you should shoot me a private message on Patreon so that I can keep a track of who's who, and I can get all my notes in order. And the next session, or in the upcoming sessions, as we do our beauty passes, we'll get those sponsor boards up. We'll get our staff names involved. And, within the next week or so, we should be adding our next animals, which, again, if you missed the live stream, we're probably going to be doing the dingoes up next. Anyway, sorry. Like I said, there's lots to touch on, lots to discuss. So we've got our staff room over here. We've assigned it to the work zone. I really hope that helps alleviate some of the stress up over here. Apart from that, the other thing I wanted to touch on is, of course, again, if you missed the live stream or opted not to watch it, our animal storage is more or less empty now. I say more or less because we have kept some of our... keep options. We've got our alternate warthog father. We've got our jaguar that we have labeled down as a keeper. Aisha, it was suggested that I hold on to Aisha, and I'm not, I mean, I guess Oh, we've got 2 Aishas. We've got 2 Aishas. That's very creative naming by the game. Unfortunately, one is pregnant with the result of inbreeding, which is unfortunate. Latifa over here, I suppose I should have traded, but, you know, I'll definitely need to look into this situation over here. I might want to bring in a new male. Ranako over here is going to be inbreeding with how many of you? 1, 2, 3. So you know what? I think we might actually replace Ranako out with a different male zebra. Let's see. Because then what I can do is I can also put this Aisha back into the enclosure. I'm going to go ahead and move you in, actually. Let's do this. I feel like it's the logical next step over to Habitat 34, whose name I do have picked out. I will be putting in as a part of these beauty passes. But apart from that, I also wanted to check really quickly. Zoopedia, take a look at our zebras here. Take a look at there. Keep forgetting. Up to 1 male, up to 5 females. Okay, so it is 1 male, 5 females. So we will have to trade out Ranako. Ranako? Not exactly sure how it's said, but you, with your fantastic genetics, will be taken to the trade center. And we're going to go ahead and get ourselves another male zebra. I think it makes the most sense. And that way we'll have more breeding options available. And that way we'll have more animals to trade out and, you know, etc., etc. Y'all know how this works. Y'all know how this works. Do we have a high-quality male available? Adolfo over here for 940. That's not too bad. Again, we have quite a few conservation credits thanks to our previous episode, our live-streamed trade session. That worked wonderfully for the zoo, and I think I had a great time doing the live stream. Many of you seem to enjoy yourselves as well. Again, like I was touching on earlier, the feedback that I'm getting both, you know, during the live stream and afterwards is absolutely fantastic in helping me make calls for the you know, the approach that we take on this channel. So thank you very much for that. I had a great time though, and I mean it worked out wonderfully for the zoo as well in terms of conservation credits and the future of animal acquisition and things like that. So that's been very promising. Very promising indeed. 1,050. You know, the longer I wait, the less likely I'm going to get a good price. Let's go ahead and adopt you over here. These are good genes. These are good genes. Adopt you. Going to go ahead and move you into quarantine, and we'll deal with you after our time lapse. Up over here into quarantine. I do want to check actually our trade history. Everything's sold. Everything's sold. And do not forget our warthogs that went for 2021 conservation credits. That was amazing. Honestly, warthogs typically go for like 15 conservation credits. These warthogs have like single-handedly funded an entire like enclosure or 2 that's coming up. So that's pretty wild. Again, thank y'all for participating in that extremely wild session of trading. Now, actually, on the topic of warthogs as well, before we dive into this time lapse, again, this is why I was saying like the time lapse will happen about partway through today's episode, because there are a couple of things that I want to deal with before I get into it. We are well over our limit for warthogs. This was pointed out to me in the comments, and I want to make sure I address the 16 and 7. Hey, where's my? Why can't I? There we go. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, we're way overboard. We're way overboard. 1 to 7. 1 male, 6 females. That's what it's supposed to be. Now, that's obviously adults only. How many young ones do we have? 6 females is our limit, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got another male over here. And a bunch of kids, but the kids don't count for the population limit and stuff like that. That is a lot. That is a lot of warthogs. Zaha, Zalika, and Ishak. You're our second male, right? Olufemi is another male as well. Who's our main man over here? Ogbana, I assume. Ogbona, sorry. Let me check. So first of all, send all of you to the trade center. I doubt we'll be able to trade more for 2021 conservation credits. I have my doubts. But to the trade center for now. Kind of wish I'd released them to the wild now that I've clicked, of course. Regrets can only happen after you do the click that you shouldn't have done. Kind of wish I'd released them to the wild. You always can, but I believe release to the wild gets you better value when you do it directly from the enclosure. Ogbana is our alpha. You are our father. Let me just check over here among the, a little bit of inbreeding. Just the one. Okay, 2, 3. Okay, so three potentials for inbreeding, eh? 3 potentials for inbreeding. I wonder if we swap in Simba. 1, 2. 2 potentials for inbreeding. Baraka, who is too old to begin with, and Ifama over here. No, not Ifama. Malika. Okay, who's not got the greatest genes? You know what? Let's go ahead and put you on put you on conservation credits. Put you on contraceptives. Let's go ahead and get Ogbonna as D2, I suppose. Make sure that naming saves. Over to the trade center and back at animal trading. I want to go ahead and get our Simba over here. Move you over to the warthog habitat. Yes, cool. I think that should do the trick over here. And again, hopefully, I mean, I've done my math right. When we get the next batch of these warthogs becoming adults, we're gonna have to come back over here and make some adjustments because they're definitely suffering from some overpopulation. It's not as bad as I thought it was when the comment first came through. I was worried I had like 60 warthogs and I was only supposed to have like 6. It's still not perfect, but I feel like it feels a lot worse than it actually is because of all the little, the adorable little babies that we have running around, squealing and just generally being lovable. They're so cute. They're so cute. All right, let's go ahead and I think dive into our time lapse. Got the work zones, did the trade stuff. I've got my keeper space up over here, whose negative impact, by the way, is not hitting anything from the looks of it. I'm still going to decorate it, but I'm just wondering like how urgent it is if I can wait until a different beauty pass. Like there's a bit of an overlap over here. What I could do is here. Let's go ahead and just to be safe, go ahead and nudge you like half a step over. Come on, there we go. There, and then get the negative impact up. Just want to make sure people who are interacting with these vending machines don't feel the negative impact. I don't know if people will feel the negative impact in that washroom over there. Go a little bit further out. So we can't. We can. That, again, this platform side doesn't really matter, doesn't have any impact. Nudge you a bit more? Sure. Why not? Why not just, like, not impact the washroom at all? Cool. Done. Done. Over to the path. Hook this back up. There it is. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, folks, I think, without further ado, God, there's so many dark spots in the zoo. Yeah, let's do it. It's time-lapse time. All right, folks, today's time-lapse does give us some solid progress as far as lighting is concerned. Though it is quite funny to think about just how invisible it kind of is with Elite Zoo South. Elite Zoo North, we did a lot of very, I think I mentioned this in the past as well, so I apologize for the broken recordness of this statement potentially. But at Elite Zoo North, we did a lot of very large, vibrant, colorful, like punchy elements, I suppose, as far as lighting was concerned. Whereas over here at Elite Zoo South, we were trying to do something a bit more subtle and natural-ish, I suppose. I don't say natural as if it's artificial lighting, obviously, but you know what I mean. I wanted to feel like accent as opposed to the centerpiece, I suppose. But as a result of that, a lot of the lighting is rather tucked away or subtle or otherwise, you know, just well, not as loud, I guess is a way to put it. So it's kind of funny. I feel like it's kind of especially evident with this session's time lapse, because you'll see a lot of the stuff that we add, after the time lapse, you'll see that it's not really noticeable from a high sort of vantage point, from a bird's eye view, if you will. It's not really so easily read as it is the case with Elite Zoo North. But with that said, though, when we're down in the spaces, I'm really quite pleased with how it's all looking and how it's all coming together. I'm particularly enamored by these lighting pieces, these little like tube light elements. They have been just fantastic. I mean, wherever I've put them, they've basically worked 100% of the time in creating the aesthetic and the look that I'm going for. Even here, I felt like this, even though I was kind of calling it done last session, looking back at it this session as the time lapse kicked off, I felt like, you know what, it's actually still quite dark in this central circular area. How do we light it up without, you know, making it too gaudy? And those like small tube lights, they just do the trick. Now over here, using these floor lights, this is my other, this used to be my favorite piece, like lighting piece, because of the shape of the cone and whatnot, the little floor lighting piece over here. But between this, the spotlight, and that tube light thing, I'm very pleased with the lighting elements available, though we do use some other things down the line as well. Now moving on from our enclosure there, I realized that, and I realized this at the beginning of the time lapse as well, though it wasn't as evident, I think, but I realized that Darwin's Den, like the walkway is all lit up, but everything else is completely dark. And so I wanted to light up the enclosure as well, so using some nice orange lighting again, going with some warmer tones, trying to stick to the warmer tones. But you'll also notice, I don't know if you caught me put it down, but you can see quite clearly, well, you know, when the camera's pointing in the right direction, how much the body of water over there is glowing. That cave has this absolutely wonderful, just sort of glowing appearance. It feels very, again, mystical. It feels very magical. It's because I've got a sort of turquoise kind of a light in there that's like just hitting against the rocks, and so it feels like the water itself is glowing. So, you know, using the traditional kind of blues and orange combination, the teal and yellow combination, I believe is like the go-to name for it, using that to create contrast and to create, you know, focus points and things like that. I'm really quite pleased with how Galapagos Grotto looks now. We'll take a look at it after the time lapse as well. But over here, I realized this little corner is very dark, so I pull out my handy dandy tube light tool because I've, like I said, completely fallen in love with these guys. And you can see instantly it like modernizes this space while also lighting it up. It's very minimal. I like the reflection as well. The reflection off the floor, off of this lighting piece, there's just something to it. It just looks really nice. But yeah, I think I found my favorite lighting piece. It's so versatile as well because of its size and how you can rotate it and stuff. Like we have it going up a curved ramp right now, for example. So loving it. Now, I wanted to make sure I didn't overdo it, though. It's so easy to overdo something you like, right? So I didn't want to do it on the other side of Darwin's Den, like the walkway. But I did have to try and figure out how to light up these trees or light up the space in general. Because as you can see, it's just like this pitch black gap of nothingness after right next to these like brightly lit walkways. So that wasn't flying for me. So I decided to use these, again, one of my other favorite lighting pieces, to try and subtly light up the planters over here, and it was working quite nicely. But because of their like, I mean, actually, I really quite like how this looks. It's quite beautiful. I'm quite pleased, actually. I hope y'all agree. I mean, again, I'm rarely happy with the end results of my own work. That's just me. It's a me problem, but I'm pretty pleased with how some of these spaces are looking in terms of the lighting effects and stuff. So I hope y'all like them as well. But right, I wanted to avoid what I was doing previously, and I also wanted to make sure that even though, like, again, I don't want this to be a pitch black space of nothingness. I don't want it to feel like a void, but I also don't want it to be the hotspot. Because I quite like how the walkway is lit up. I quite like how that's sort of the spotlight. So I wanted to get the spotlight, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of the focal point. Sorry, because I'm using spotlights to light up the trees and the planters across from Darwin's Den, so using spotlight there, didn't want to get confusing. But, you know, of course, adjusting color and saturation and lighting and stuff to make sure it's not super bright, but you can see how much of a difference it makes from up on high. I mean, I don't know if you caught it in that quick kind of rotation / pan that I did with the camera, but you'll hopefully catch it after the live stream. It really makes quite a difference in just bringing that space to life. Adding that little bit more light brings out the color in the trees. It brings out the depth in the space as well, like the fact that there are, you know, layers of vegetation and whatnot. I think it does a lot of work. So I'm very, very glad to have like kind of come up to that point. Meanwhile, over here with these waterfalls, I really wanted to figure out how to light these waterfalls in a more interesting way. It's something I've struggled with previously, is like lighting water. I guess the game's not really like built around that, I guess. So it only really works specifically in like certain circumstances or certain angles. But I was playing around with the stadium light just moments ago to try and get that volumetric fog look going. It just feels a little bit like, because basically when you get volumetric lighting when light is traveling through particles that are like thick enough to like be seen rather than just like empty air, so to speak. So by using the volumetric fog off of those stadium lights, I was hoping to create the illusion of like mist and stuff, and like light bouncing off of mist and I don't know, just stuff being kicked up by the waterfall. I don't know if it's entirely successful. I quite like how it looks, but I'm kind of limited by the technology of my time, as it were. The game only has so many pieces, the lighting engine only works in so many ways. Still quite pleased with how it looks, but I'll point out actually some of my issues with it after the time lapse. And again, like, when I say issues with it, I don't mean like, oh, Planet Zoo should have done this better. Planet Zoo's lighting engine is fantastic. I'm trying to bend it in ways and trying to figure out how we can make certain things work in certain ways. It's entirely a me thing. But you can see how I'm using that same kind of teal slash turquoise slash, you know, blue, if you just want to be kind of generic with it. You can see how I'm using that to light up the waterfall space over here as well. I really like how that looks. It feels, again, just kind of like magical. It's like, it's the equivalent of what we were doing for the trees at Pachamama's Garden and Elite Zoo North, except waterfalls. And since we have so many waterfalls at Elite Zoo South, it's nice to have something to make them stand out a bit more, I guess. I quite like it. Even like over here, getting the rocks lit up from multiple directions, trying to use like a 2-point, 3-point lighting. Trying to make backlighting from all directions is weird because, you know, it's not how backlighting works. But using the colors up over here as well, I'm actually quite pleased with this discovery or whatever you want to call it. You know, of all the lighting stuff we've done this session, I feel like this the moment where I got that color just right in that cave at Galapagos Grotto, to me that was a major moment that is going to influence the lighting approach for a lot of regions in the zoo. Not just the spots that we've done today, but, you know, the other waterfalls that are actually in the center of the zoo, which I really ought to work on. I was gonna do that today, but again, I was just like, got distracted by little details on this side of the zoo. But anyway, we'll be applying that lighting theory and logic to a bunch of spaces. Going back there to add some lighting below the stairwell because it was kind of dark, and again using these, you know, favorite pieces. I'm not a fan of like the tackier looking overly decorated lights. I use them rarely when it's like thematic. I like things like simple and clean and minimal, so I feel like don't really need to use all those pieces. These ones do the trick, and they do the trick magnificently. I might want to relight this enclosure. I'm not the happiest with the Aldabra tortoise enclosure and how it's been lit up, so I'm gonna explore more options there. But I wanted to get the gorillas lit up a bit as well, just to see how things are feeling. Again, wanting to create some hot spots and whatnot. But the gorillas are the last enclosure that we touch on today before we run out of time for the time lapse. So folks, I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. Let me know your thoughts, of course. But for now, back to regular speed. All right, folks, we are back from the time lapse, and that was quite a good one, actually. I'm pretty pleased with the overall end results, even though from a distance, honestly, it feels like we didn't cover too much ground. That's largely because of the tree cover we have, and I quite like the tree cover, and I quite like that it's dark. But the moment you get past the tree cover, the moment you get into like the correct angles and stuff, you can really see just how much of a difference we made to some of these spaces. The trees over here, for example, it's funny, we kind of have this like canopied, multi-layer, multi-tier thing going on over here, but you can see how the trees inside Darwin's Den are a lot more, you know, lit up now, a lot more visible. We've got some good lighting going on the floor as well, spreading some of the that like what was going on previously was we were having these like really bright hot spots, and then it was just kind of fell off into nothingness as far as like the luminance is concerned. But now at least it feels like the light's actually bouncing around. There's more going on in the area, so that feels a lot better to me. It's wild to me just how red things actually are in here. I didn't realize that in the previous episodes. We'd put these down a while ago, but did not realize just how red this space became. Don't mind it, though. It's quite nice. It's quite vibrant. It's quite bright. It's also quite secluded. It's wild to me as well how you just basically can't tell that that exists over there from the, from the quote-unquote right angles. Beyond that as well, though, really liking how these spaces are coming together. I've become quite the fan of this kind of lighting treatment. It just, there's something to it. Even back over here, we've got this going. It just feels very modern. It feels very minimal. It feels, I don't know, it's just like really hitting that spot for me. I really like it. I really like the overall effect of the light as well. Because of course, I mean, these are, as far as like game pieces are concerned, they all have their lights positioned differently within the models, and there's something about the way these ones work that just lights the space up nicely as well. So very, very pleased with all this work we got accomplished. Also quite pleased with the this fog. I'm trying to figure out the reason why I'm going over this again, by the way, after the time lapse. I'm sure I touched on this during the time lapse as well. The only reason why I'm highlighting this stuff outside of the time lapse is because I feel like some of this stuff especially moved particularly quickly during the time lapse. So I don't know if it was as easily caught, but we're using these stadium lights to create this fog effect, just to further add to the mist effect that we've got going on. I quite like it. It's very finicky though. It's something that like I find like it works-ish. Like over here, for example. To me, this looks good. But the moment I come out over here, you get that cone, and it loses that goodness. But from anywhere else, from like most other angles, it looks fantastic. So, hoping to try and figure out a way to make this kind of stuff work a bit more universally, no matter the angle we come in from. It is difficult though, because it's I understand what this light is trying to achieve. It's called a stadium light for a reason. It's trying to look like the volumetric light effect that you get at stadiums, but unfortunately it's so directional, and I don't think, well, rather previously I've noticed that when you kind of like try to do this crisscross thing, let's see if I can't get it right over here for this explanation, you can see exactly what the problem is. You can see as a result of the overlapping, you can see the issues there, right? So unfortunately, not really an option, but I would say like 9 out of 10 times, or like 360 out of 365 angles, this looks pretty good, so we're going to keep it as is. But yeah, pretty pleased with how that looks, pretty pleased with this like shade of blue as well, bouncing off these like waterfall areas. In fact, it originated from this space over here, which looks, in my opinion, absolutely gorgeous with that like turquoise light coming through from the back there. You've got obviously the orange and the blues, so to speak, kind of playing off each other. Feels like a little I don't know, like a little paradise over here. Feels like fancy hotel or resort pools that you like imagine in places like Hawaii or whatever. That's what it kind of feels like. I like the coloration a lot. Anyway, let's go ahead and unpause, let time move forward. Let's see if any of our management stuff made any difference with regards to our staff and how they're kind of doing as far as workload and stuff is concerned. Let's also take a look at our animal, swaps that we did. Of course, we've got the zebras, we've got the warthogs as well. I want to make sure everything is, working smoothly. I'm not going to have any issues. Kabibi over here died. She died, I believe, was that 2 sessions ago? I think it was... Actually, it might have been last session. Let's go ahead and call the vet over here. We are starting to get a little bit of lag, and I'm not... I wonder if that's just the game recalculating. Yeah, I think so. Recalculating, like, paths and whatnot. Because overall, our piece count is nowhere near what we had at Elite Zoo North. Elite Zoo North, do not forget, our Indian elephant enclosure. That alone must have had as many pieces as Elite Zoo South does. So I feel like we're still okay as far as piece count. I don't think that's the reason. But I mean, I suppose we'll find out in due time. Let's go ahead and take a look at our situation with the quarantine, because we have, well, our warthogs. Ooh, what's going on? Yeah, I was hoping this wouldn't be an actual problem, but it turns out it actually is. That's a bit of a bummer. Now, hold on a second. How much of an impact is it actually having, though? I mean, yes, I see the region over here, but you can see there aren't any guests that are particularly unhappy on their way out. If I look at guest needs, happiness is still pretty good. And okay, we've got a couple of unhappy guests over here, but why? Not you, but you. Why are you unhappy? Energy. My time at the habitat was okay, they say. You can see even guests like walking around in this area. They don't care. It's only guests who are going past in the train that are having some trouble. These guys are not having a good time. Things are okay at best in their opinion. Did not enjoy Riverboat 4? Well, listen. It's meant to like get you from point A to point B. I wish you could designate like transit rides versus like entertainment rides, you know? Where's our train coming the other way? All the way back over here, eh? I feel like I need to work on the timings. I feel like I need to work on the timings. But you can see... Well, I want to see just how bad it gets, I guess. Just about the tracks. Just about the small section of the tracks. And it was mentioned in the comments a couple episodes ago as well. It's like, yeah, it's a small section of the tracks, but the game likes to blow this stuff out of proportion. And it's true. It really does. It really does. I don't think I'd be able to lift out of it. Because it's, again, it's a pretty big radius. I wish I could see the... Come on, where'd you go? There it is. You can see it's a pretty big radius. You can't just lift out of it. I could drop this a little bit. That is an option as well. I mean, the other option, of course, is to... Oh, geez, I don't know. Like, move it over to here, I suppose. It just feels like kind of plain, I suppose. Alright, here we go. Train full of guests. These guests are going to get out. I need to look at... Do I want to look at guest needs, or do I want to look at negative impact? Let's look at negative impact, because I could have sworn they turn red with negative impact, but I'll check. You're not allowed to get stuck over here. Now, how long is this gonna... Like, is this just gonna go out empty? Walking so slowly, ambling. Open the gates. Let's go. Nope. This has even fewer people. I mean, no wonder people are getting upset waiting over here. At least the tickets are cheap. At least the tickets are cheap. Yeah, silver lining thinking. Come on, get out of the train if you're not gonna... Go, go, go. Gotta stop Tiana over here. Stop it. Stop it. Oh. Swap out the mail eventually there. Where are we? Here. Go. That train's empty as well, isn't it? It is. Wow. This is a bit of a problem. I gotta fix these timings, I think. I don't want to do it right now because then everybody will, like, step out. Like, everybody over here will, like, rejig. I mean, y'all remember how that works. There we go. I had a feeling that it would eventually work out, but I do need to fix the timings over here. Alright. These guys are all getting on over here. Okay, good stuff. We're gonna push through. They're unhappy for, like, all of a flash. Like a split second. These guys were already pretty grumpy, but you can see the happy guests are still happy. Well, at least you're happy while going around. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't expect people on rides to actually be happy because of the ride they're taking. I guess it gets rid of the, oh, I've been walking for too long complaint, right? I guess that's what it is. Cool, alright. Now you get up over here. Are we going to see the same problem over here where this guest is taking forever to get off so nobody gets on? That really is quite annoying. That really is quite annoying. Okay, fair enough. Let's... Here. Gotta figure out the balance, I suppose. Minimum wait time is 20 seconds. Maximum wait time is 70 seconds. Any load. I want to keep any load on. I wonder if I should up this to, like, let's say 90 seconds? I don't know. I feel like that's too long at that point. Like, waiting a minute and a half seems like just a little bit too long. I really wish you could determine wait time from after a train gets emptied out, or something. Some way to ensure people are able to get on the train, because otherwise, obviously, this is a problem. Got another saltwater crocodile over here maturing. Gonna trade you out. Here's the trade center. What are your stats looking like? Gold. Oh yeah, this is good. Go ahead and mark you for trade. Vikal over here. Vikal. I'm gonna go with for now. And what about our quarantine? Had our little buddy in quarantine for a while now, haven't we? Oh, okay. Weird. I just assumed it was still the old warning. Okay, let's go ahead and get Adolfo in here. Let's make sure we rename Adolfo as well. Well, as soon as we can, at least. Gotta make sure they're clearly labeled, otherwise I will make a mistake down the line. Good stuff. What do we got going on over here? Any particularly interesting challenges? Or habitat species? We'll get that you know, eventually. Yellow Anaconda Education. Okay, listen, I'm just going to dismiss that one. That one's useless. We're never going to get that one done. 3 Colombian white-faced capuchin monkeys to the wild. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on over here. I don't know if they've had offspring at all in forever. It has been a really long time. We've done our little swapping around and everything. That's a lot of female monkeys. Got a few male monkeys. Why are they not getting the job done? Because they're happy and everything. They're all happy. No one's on contraceptives. I would even take an inbreeding warning. Like, I don't want them to inbreed. But I mean, I would even be happy if we got the warning that these animals are inbreeding. Because that would tell me that at least they're trying, you know? That's what I'm concerned about. Is like, it doesn't seem like they're trying at all. And that seems to be quite the problem, actually. Quite the problem. Warthogs are doing okay, I believe. Yeah, they're all fine over here. Facility's still having a negative. It's just gonna keep bothering me, aren't you? I wish I could turn that off. It's also actually kind of funny. We can reduce the oh, this is the one at the entrance. Oh, this is a different one. Oh, okay, cool. Because I was about to say, I was like, it's kind of wild that we can reduce the negative impact area more. For this one, I thought it was pointing out to me. Didn't think so. Yeah, this is maxed out because it's fully covered and everything. Alright, cool. What is this negative area? Alright, okay, got it. So if this is in fact upsetting guests, let's go ahead and get some coverings on it. Surprised it's still nighttime. Expecting the sun to have risen by now. I'll take it. Where are we? Construction. Yeah, there's some really cool things, aren't there? What I wanted to do was I wanted to get... is it this one? No, not this one. Though actually I do quite like how this looks. I might just stick to this one at this point. Not the original intent, but I do like the look of it. Another one of our warthogs is about to mature. Fair enough. There we go. Oh, you know what? This is the one I was looking for, actually. Now that I'm able to see it in a slightly better light. On which note, here comes the light. Still bright. Not bad. Where is our store front door here, at least? Come on. There we go. Storefront for the windows, I mean, obviously. Alright, back over here. Hook these guys up. Go ahead and get... Nope, not the panel. The wall, yep. There. I love how it adjusts the corners. It's just a nice little touch. Nice little touch. Down over here. Cool. Do we have like a floor? Yes, we do. We can use the roof, of course, as we tend to. Again, nothing too overly complicated for this stuff, right? Like it's there's no need to make it overly gaudy or overly complicated or anything like that. What are we looking at here? 33%. That's it. You're fully covered. Guess I could add some more. How many more trees can I add to the area? There's actually quite a few. But I think that probably has done the trick. You know, it actually doesn't look like it has. That doesn't look like much of a reduction at all, does it? Alright. Well, let's see. What do we got over here? 33%. I could add some, like, bushes or something, I suppose. Feature, filter, continent, Australia. Well, rather, I want, content pack, Australia. Try and, like, match the region and whatnot. Any planters or... There we go. New World stuff. Wouldn't mind New World. I do like this aesthetic quite a bit, actually. Use it for the benches all the time as well. There's also this stuff from the Aquatic DLC, I believe. You know what? I might actually... I quite like how it looks. Do quite like how it looks. I wonder if I can't, like, do something like this. By 2 panels. No one's ever going to see this. No one is ever going to see this. Yeah, sure. We know it exists. Oh my god. You can barely see it from like mid-height. Lose myself before I find out where I've placed that stuff. Oh, where are we? Let's go ahead and use the New World planter over here. I need to make that part of the group. There we go. Pop you down over here. Got another one down right next to it. Down there, sure. And what about our plants? Yeah, these are definitely the plants I think of when I think about beautifying a space. Is this seriously all we have? I guess that's just from the Australia pack. Let's go with continent, Oceania, biome, tropical. We have an escaped animal. Is it? Yes, it is. Yep, completely forgot about. Oh, look at that. I wish I caught that pose a bit better. It's like standing on his hind legs. It's because of this. I forgot to do this time. Again, don't know why it's the thing, but it's a thing now. Gotta uncheck that every time. Okay, not the end of the world. Hopefully it gets fixed soon. That's why I feel like the animal talks thing has not been fixed yet either. I'm like fairly certain it hasn't. But again, if anybody knows any better, feel free to let me know and I will adjust that approach accordingly. Let's go ahead and do these ones over here. Just again, just trying to like get a little bit of coverage over here. Nothing too overly complicated. I hope it's enough to reduce the negative radius a little bit further. That's all we really need, is just a little bit further reduction of the negative impact radius. 38%. That might actually be enough. Yep, exactly. That's exactly what we needed. Just to shorten this a bit more. Staff, of course, are happy enough in this space. They've got their little, got their interior, you know, look at that. This is a fantastic spot. Nice big TV, fun poster. Is that a bear? That is a bear. That's amazing. They got a dartboard in here. Donuts. An endless supply of donuts. Is that a dinosaur-themed? I don't recognize the cereal, like, I don't recognize a joke or anything in there. We haven't been in these rooms at all, have we? This is funny. The level of detail in these, honestly, is a little, oh, hey! Hey, that's pretty cool. These are all pieces from, like, if we search up... Okay, just give me a second here with this distraction, but if we search up the, giraffe, let's say, it's, yeah, it's that piece, just like miniaturized. That's funny. That's pretty funny. Huh, what do you know? Yeah, board games. You have time to play board games? How long are your breaks? Why are they so long? Alright, back to our warthogs over here, because I think quite a few of them are starting to come of age. Oh my god. Nabelung, Bornani, and Chain. Gonna go ahead and release y'all to the wild. Let's release y'all to the wild. Let's go. Game taking its time there. I mean, that's not more conservation credits than like a trade. It was like 15 conservation credits approximately. So it's like basically the same value. Basically the same value. Still a lot of kids in here, right? I think we have another adult male. Nah, we're good. We are good. Okay, excellent. Excellent. I do maybe want to take a look at our trade center over here because... Oh, wait, no. I was thinking about who was it that we needed to trade. Well, let's go ahead and trade out Fumi. It's the same value. Okay, you know what? Let's release you to the wild. Getting the chance of getting a warthog to be traded is so low because there's so many of them and they are so cheap in value. The only way to guarantee it is like trade them out for like 10 conservation credits. I keep wanting to say euro dollars. I've been playing Cyberpunk, you know, on and off here and there, and I know it's not dollars because that's the main like currency, but when I think about alternate currencies, euro dollars keeps coming to mind, and I'm like, that's not the word. That is not a real thing. I'm gonna go ahead and release you to the wild as well. Again, there's no point in trying to trade these guys. It'll just be disappointment, right? And I'm trying to stay on top of this a bit more. I mentioned this during the live stream as well. I'm trying to stay on top of this a bit more because I want to make sure we don't end up at a spot where we have like 50 animals in the trade center and I'm like, oh yeah, time for another trade session, and we spend like, you know, 40 minutes just trading animals. I'm trying to avoid that moving forward, so hopefully this helps us do that. Renako over here. I believe we can keep Renako. We can keep him and swap him in and out, I suppose. Dangerous fight. There. This is what I was gonna touch on. Was that we had that? There we go. You over here. Gonna send you to the trade center. Don't run away from me. We have another saltwater croc that we need to take to the trade center as well. In Buana. Where are you, Buana? There you are. Are you an adult yet, or are you still a child? Buana, adult, good genes, great genes. These guys will trade proper. Over to animal trading. And let's just check their pricing. Typical pricing. Salt. With an S. There we go. Filter 83. Well, these guys are not gold tier. I've got gold tier crocs over here. We got some problems at some exhibits, it looks like. Maybe some Titan beetles having some trouble. 305. That's really cheap. I feel like 500 is a reasonable price. I feel like 500 is a reasonable price. Again, we're looking at the bottom tier, right? We're looking at the lowest numbers, but I feel like with 500, at least it's a likely trade for both of these guys. There we go. Done. Decisions made. I want to try and just move faster with these kinds of things. All right, what's going on over here? The Titan beetles? Yeah, no surprise there, I suppose. Gotta make sure that we leave. I mean, again, I wish I could see. Ooh, these guys are all old. Like, stopped having babies at one point. Over to exhibit trading. Do we have any Anita over here? What about Lewis or Louis? All right, he's not very good in terms of fertility, is he? All right, we get Juanito. Send you over here. Select everybody. Except for... Where's Juanito? She's also very old. Damn, okay. Wonder how that's gonna work out. Let's try putting these two in here. How old do they get? I've got 1.4 and 1.5 years old, right? How old do they actually get before they die? Titan beetles. 1 year. So they're it's a surprise that they're still alive even, is basically what the game's telling me. Okay. Okay, maybe we get new ones. I mean, we'll see what happens. So the worst case scenario is we just have to reassign the education boards and stuff again. Not the end of the world. Katarina over here, low welfare. Why? Social. Why? Stress. Why? Been fine for so long and decided to change things up recently, I suppose. Injured. She's an adult. Oh, we're gonna have to get new giant anteaters soon. I don't think we have. Don't think we've had much luck with the giant anteaters, actually, have we? First of all. You are an adult now, so I'm gonna have to move you to the trade center. Decent genes. You know what? Let's go ahead and release to the wild. They are relatively endangered, so 26 conservation credits is not a lot, but it's something. And why did I see like? Oh my god, I did. We got 2 young ones, 2 females over here. How did I miss this? Go ahead and release you to the wild as well. Done. I didn't think we had any infighting or anything, but I guess we must have. I must have missed it. Jaguar over here is about to mature. Got to keep an eye out for that because that's obviously going to cause us some trouble. There you are. You are, little buddy. Has this entire episode just been at night? I don't recall the sun coming up. But like, when's the last time the game did that where it was just like trapped in a certain time? I don't recall the last time the game did that. Come on now. Where'd you go? Is that you? Chipawa is the mother, no. Tifa's about to mate, good stuff. Mark you for trade. I guess mark this guy for trade as well. He's not as good, but he's still decent. Not as good, but Still will net us some conservation credits. In fact, let's take a quick look at animal trading. A quick look at history here. Oh, I guess, right. We didn't trade anybody else. We just released a bunch to the wild. What about our staff here? What are we looking at in terms of workload? Low, efficient. Couple people here and there who are tired. Lots of low workload with security guards. Vendors look like they're... Some of them are doing better. Immediately, these guys dive into the fight, eh? Move you... all of you to the trade center. Our 2 adults here are still, like, relatively young, so... Guatemala we want to keep. Otley we're trading. Quetzalcoatl we're trading, but I thought I had, what about Citlali? But where are you? Did I not bring you in here? It says in trade center. I must be missing something. Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and trade the ones that we can see. Find me some Jaguars over here. What are we looking at in terms of prices? Like 1,000, 1,200, I think, maybe. Ooh, not really. I'm gonna stick with like 1,000 though, at least. These are as low as 700. Let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try 1,000. Okay, maybe not. Well, if the minimum asking is like 778, then maybe I'm onto something here. 1,000 for you. There's Italy. Was I just missing him earlier? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe. Yaotl. Put you out as well. Cool. Again, just trying to stay on top of it all. Just trying to stay on top of it all. Oh my god, look at these stats though. Like, these are good stats, man. These are good stats. 1,200 for you. Really good stat. That's like A-star stats. Already got Guatemala over here with the same exact stats, so that's all good. We'll see if any of those trades come through and make us any additional conservation credits. It'll take some time to get there. But, alright, let's see. So what do we got? What do we got? We got the lighting over here. Okay, honestly, though, a little strange how it's still nighttime. I can't be the only one who's a little concerned that this is a whole new bug. Ah, oh, come on now. How do you sneak out? A runaway pig over here. He got his, dreams of freedom. His pig dreams of freedom. Well, you know, if you're gonna dream, you should dream pig, right? God, I could keep going. You know I could too. I got a nice shot of our freely roaming pig over here. Why and how? That's the big question. It's like, how did you get out of there? How did you get out of there? Why is it glitching like this? Why? Why? Go back. Important alert. Is that just the animal that I just asked for the capture of? There we go. Good stuff. So weird to me. These new issues from time to time are always like extremely weird to me. All right, we're good over there. I think we're good overall. I think we're good to actually call it a session over here, folks. Got a fair bit done. The zebras are doing their thing. We made some adjustments there. Made some adjustments to the warthogs. The jaguars are all good. The crocs are all good. A little concerned about our anteaters. I guess I shouldn't be. I think we're fine. I think we're pretty fine across the board. Next session, hopefully the sun will rise again. Hopefully it's not just eternal darkness for Elite Zoo South, outside of me like using the blueprint screen to force the time of day. But hopefully next session the sun will rise and we'll dive into some of these beauty passes. I think in particular I want to work on this area next. Sort of naturally transition out from here, move up there, do the this is sort of like, you know, we did these last handful of sessions, including the beauty passes. Now it's time for daytime beauty passes. Sorry, including the lighting passes. Now it's time for the daytime beauty passes. We're going to work on this section, hopefully all together. Hopefully get it all done. work on this, get the warthog enclosure all done, and then move on to the next animal. And as we're doing all the dingo stuff, we'll work on the koala enclosure surroundings as well. I feel like that's kind of like the best way to approach everything. But y'all let me know what you think. For now, though, we're going to call it a session, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, lots to do. Trying to get it all done in a timely and spread out manner. If we feel like there have been too many beauty passes and lighting passes back to back to back, y'all let me know, and we will take a look at maybe shifting that schedule around. As I always say, things aren't set in stone until they're actually happening. So let me know what you think. Again, and as always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who have been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.